Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? Alien threats on the world? Well, I've got some information here for you, and maybe we can help you see how this is tied to Bible prophecy, actually. I know what you're thinking. What are you talking about? Calm down. You guys, you have to understand, I know what I'm doing here, okay? There is a threat on the world. There is a major threat on the world. But also, this is part of the plan. Walter von Braun told us this in the 60s, that this would be part of the plan, the last act, basically, of bringing the world under one control. Let me tell you more about that in just a second. I've also got some words from Ronald Reagan to tell you that this plan's been in play a long time. What you should do now, right now, folks, have you heard of www.noblegoldinvestment.com? Just for a few seconds, I want to tell you that inflation isn't something we've heard about. We've heard about it for a while, but it is skyrocketing. In the last month, inflation rates is the highest it's been in 29 years, since 1992. That's a big problem. And for all of us with food and gas and everything else going sky high, it's terrible if you're planning on retiring anytime soon. You need to put an inflation dam up to stop the bleeding and from wiping out the value, your buying power with your money and your savings and your investments. It's not too late if you get a hold of www.noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Colin Plume, Christian company, family owned. Let him help you set up a gold IRA. And if you do, if I can find it, if you do set one up, and he's willing to set one up with you, he will give you a gift. He'll actually give you a nice little gift here. It's a gold. It's actually a silver proof of made by American Eagle of the Liberty coin, and it's pure silver, 1 ounce pure silver, and it's a proof. So it's a coin that's the proof, which is beautiful. He'll give this to you for free. But more importantly, you need to look for a way to protect your assets in this time of volatile markets. So again, pick up the phone if you want to right now. Call Colin or one of his associates at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. You'll be glad you did. Okay, now here's what's going on with this. Let me tell you the information I have in just a second. Oh, don't forget the map. The map. We're still trying to get it printed, and we're going. But if you want to see the map of the rest of the map, the Mike from Around the World map. You guys remember I showed you his East Coast model that was incredible, and everybody said, "Where's the West Coast?" Well, we finally got it from Mike this morning, and we're still trying to get it printed. So what we went ahead and did is just posted it over at Patreon so you can go see it. So everybody who's already members of our Patreon channel, just get over there and see the map. The West Coast portion of the map. It will blow your mind, okay? It will blow your mind. Now, I'll tell you more about information about alien threats on the world, but first, I want you to listen for the next 2 minutes to former President Ronald Reagan and his thoughts. Well, listen to this.
I couldn't help at one point in my discussions privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children, wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together. Well, I don't suppose we can wait for some alien race to come down and threaten us, but I think that between us, we can bring about that realization. In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war? I think maybe I'd answer it this way. I keep, in my frustration sometimes, actually, if you count some of the things going on in smaller countries and all, there have been about 114 wars since World War II. But I've often wondered, what if all of us in the world discovered that we were threatened by a power from outer space, from another planet? Wouldn't we all of a sudden find that we didn't have any differences between us at all? We were all human beings, citizens of the world, and wouldn't we come together to fight that particular threat?
That's President Ronald Reagan. 3 different speeches on aliens, threats on the world. The President of the United States back in the late 1980s. Now, here we are. First of all, Walter von Braun in the 60s, he's the man who in the 50s actually helped, we brought him over after World War II. He's an incredible rocket scientist from Germany. And he's the man who really made NASA for real. He built the rocket that actually could get into space. And it's why we were able to get to the moon. And he died in the 70s, but during this process in the 60s, he said there's a plan. And that plan included, there was 3 phases. One would be the Cold War would keep the world trying to unify the world of a common threat, which would be in the Russians and the Cold War. Number 2, he said there would be Vietnam the war on terrorism. I said Vietnam, I don't know why. The war on terrorism, and that terrorism, the thought of it, terrorizing civilizations and citizens, would cause the world to come together and unify. But if that didn't work, then the 3rd phase would be an alien threat. An outside threat would be used to bring the world into a one world government. He said this in the 60s, and that this was the elitist plan. And he wanted people to know this is what's coming. And we've had the Cold War. We've had the war on terror. It just ended, basically. Oh, you're still going to have terrorism. It's been unleashed on the world. And you're still going to have Cold War mentality. It still goes on between the United States and Russia and the United States and China and others. But what we haven't had is this announcement, this reality to try to bring out this fear of alien threat on the earth. And so even a pandemic isn't big enough to cause the world to unite for a common cause. But how do you make a one world government, a new world order? So this is the next phase and the final phase. And so there's an article just came out about this, and it has some pretty good points in it. And I was reading it and I thought, no, there's some better points than that. Ronald Reagan told you, Walter von Braun told us, and now we're seeing the alien or UFO disclosure, and now you're hearing more and more. And this is why we're doing a webinar called Aliens, Angels, and Demons, because the church is confused. The world is certainly confused. They don't know, is God really God? They're being taught in school that really there is no God. Or they're being told that we came from aliens, that somehow we're the offspring, the spawned children of alien beings, and that they're coming back to check on us and to straighten us out to keep us from going to war. You notice all 3 times that Reagan brought up the alien threat to the world, he made it saying it's that let's not fight a war. We might have to all come together against a bigger foe. Well, in some ways, he's right. Not little green men from Mars or any other planet, but the Bible told us this in the Revelation chapter 9. Let me read it. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, and as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. What in the world are we talking about? If you stop right there and said, what did you just say? The Bible said an angel from heaven will come and open a bottomless pit out on the earth and release a black smoke of darkness and horror, including locusts that have this incredible ability to hurt men, but can't hurt men who have God's seal in their foreheads. But Lucifer wants you to have his seal in your forehead, the seal of the mark of the beast. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of these locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men, and they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions, and they had breastplates, and it was the breastplates of iron, the sounds of the wings, and the sounds of chariots, and many horses running to battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. Guys, this sounds like a creature from another world. This sounds like, like the movie Species or something. This is something wicked. It's mechanical. It's part insect, part mechanical, demonic, wicked, and it's coming to fight humanity. That would cause people to maybe have to force them to unite. But we're not done, because now go to Revelation 9:11. Revelation 9:11. And they had a king over them. Here he comes, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Here comes the leader of the pack. Here comes the beast, spirit of darkness. Here comes the Antichrist, probably that we read about in Revelation 13, when it talks about the beast shall rise. Here comes darkness upon the earth, and a battle against humanity, and a releasing of the wicked spirits, releasing these 4 angels that come out of the river Euphrates area, which is in the Middle East, Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Iran. And then, of course, we know that there's a great war. It kills 1/3 of the world. Nobody talks about this, but this is your World War III. But it seems like what brings it about is these creatures from the Black Lagoon. I mean, from the bottomless pit of hell. Are these the Nephilim being released? The modern day transhumanistic, part man, part beast, Is this the hordes of hell being released on the earth? Look, the elitists are blind. They're the blind leaders of the blind. When I say the elitist, who am I talking about? I'm not talking about anybody who has Christ in their life. I'm talking about those who want to take over the world, force a new agenda, a godless society from the pits of hell itself, the followers of the beast and the false prophet. And so some type of strong delusion, some type of fear beyond anything we've ever had before, something that stops men's hearts fall over dead for fear of things coming upon the earth, Jesus said in Luke 21. I'm just telling you, you're going to hear more and more about it. And one of those threats we were told about it by Walter von Braun. We heard about it from President Ronald Reagan. Are we about to see about it? And who's going to announce it? And then how is it released? Give your life to Jesus Christ. For the Lord hasn't given us the spirit of fear, but of love and power and a sound mind. It's not by our might nor by our spirit, not by our might nor by our power, but by his spirit, thus saith the Lord. So this is our finest hour. This is the moment when the world, here's what I'm going to tell you. Whenever L.A. Marzulli likes to say it this way, when they come down, we go up, okay? I'm also going to say this. When the threat of them coming down, yes, the devil's betting on this. The devil's betting that the fear on the whole world will cause people to run to the beast. I'm banking on the word of God that the fear that hits the world will cause millions to come running to Christ. And the greatest harvest of all time, the end time harvest, is upon us. The big tent revival throwback days and the coming of people rushing to the altar. Sunday, I seen it. I not only saw it physically when I seen people coming out of the seats, 5 of them getting saved, many getting rededicated, many being praying for healing. But I seen it in the spirit. I saw it physically, but then I saw it in the spirit times 100. I saw it. The revival anointing is alive, and it's going to break out across the world. The devil's afraid of that. I'll see you guys. Give your life to Jesus Christ. You better get ready. He's coming like a thief in the night.